You're about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck. And let us all beseech the blessings of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
I would venture to say that Medal of Honor Frontline's intro is one of the best in gaming history. Eisenhower's speech to the Allied troops before D-Day really puts you in the zone. Also, the beautifully composed music and the war footage in the background makes this a truly emotional intro. So with that out of the way, let's get into the thesis statement and my 3 topics that we'll be talking about today. So my thesis is that Medal of Honor Frontline captures the look and feel of World War II better than most, and the 3 topics to back that up are historical accuracy and attention to detail, engaging the player, and sound design. Before we start talking about the main topic, I would like to first give some quick facts and a little bit of backstory on the game. Firstly, the game was released on May 9th, 2002. It was developed by EA Los Angeles. The game was released on the PlayStation 2, original Xbox, GameCube, and it was also remastered in 2010 alongside the Afghanistan reboot of the series. So technically 4 Medal of Honor games came out in 2002, but the 2 standouts are Medal of Honor Frontline and Allied Assault. Although they share the same franchise tag, they are completely different games. Allied Assault was actually developed by the developers of Call of Duty, while Frontlines was developed by a team that was more inspired by the original Medal of Honor release. I'd like to briefly touch on the first Medal of Honor game released in 1999, since a lot of the gameplay elements in Frontlines were inspired by that game. Here is a quote from Christopher Cross, the senior game designer from EA LA.
Spielberg actually has had a very strong influence, particularly from the beginning. He was actually the spark of Medal of Honor, and he was like, I'm working on this movie called Private Ryan, and I've been playing GoldenEye a lot. So, why don't you guys do World War II GoldenEye? And, it started from there.
So with the intro portion out of the way, I'd like to get started on the first topic. So my first topic has to do with historical accuracy and the attention to detail. I would say that Medal of Honor Frontline is a great gateway for one to get interested into history. The developers made it really easy for people to learn more about the time period. Every detail comes together in an excellent package worthy of a more in-depth look, so let's get into it. The first detail I'd like to investigate is the game's environment/levels. There are a total of 6 missions/locations, however each mission has submissions which pushes the total of unique locations to 19. All of the locations in game are meticulously crafted from images the developers either took of the location in real life or images of what it was like in the 1940s.
I think that people definitely get a feel for what it was like to fight in those locations. We do an extensive amount of research, both here on site through video and book, and normal research means.
To show off what I'm talking about, I'm going to show some pictures and some audio from some of my particular favorite levels: Eye of the Storm, Rough Landing, Operation Rapunzel, and Arnhem Nights. Another aspect of the game that helps teach the player about history, slight spoilers of the game's story, but we're talking about world history. The game doesn't shy away from showing the Allied losses in the war. For example, multiple missions take place during the operation known as Market Garden that failed. Also, after the D-Day mission, your commanding officer also remarks that the Allies are having supply issues, which did actually happen in real life.
Divisions lay in wait, trained to repel the assault. The Allied invasion was halted outside Nijmegen, effectively cutting off more than 10,000 paratroopers dropped in Arnhem. Surrounded, the Allies battled on for 7 days, refusing to yield the north side of Arnhem Bridge to a superior force. Finally, when it was decided Market Garden could not succeed, the Allies fell back. 8,000 would be left behind. The Dutch would not see liberation for another 7 months.
One of the most impressive parts of Frontline is the game's character models. The dev team was able to create some seriously impressive models for a 2002 release. Like in this video, check out all the different gear that these German soldiers have. Not one of them are the same. Another example is this. Check out the black bag on this USGI's chest. Now you might think that's like a life vest or something. However, it's actually a gas mask carrier. Also note the gas brassard on the right shoulder. If poison gas was detected, this would change to a bright red color. All these little details that the average person might miss was all thanks to just dedicated research. The various German enemies throughout the game have over 300 different variations that is randomly generated, so each soldier is different. Same thing can be said for the Allied troops, but they feature much less than the Germans, so they don't have as much variation. The amount of dedication put into researching each piece of gear and uniform variation is absolutely astounding. It takes a true drive to willingly research all these different pieces of gear. Another thing I'd like to mention is that all the different branches of the German military are in the correct spots that they would be at the time. For example, when you read the subpen, instead of Wehrmacht soldiers, the regular German army, it is Kriegsmarine, the German navy at the time. Also in the Operation Market Garden levels, there are SS soldiers because Holland is right on the border of Germany, so they are protecting their homeland. They also put up a fiercer resistance than the average Germans. Also featuring in the game are some fantastic civilian models. I always appreciate when dev teams go the extra mile to include civilians who are rarely ever seen in war games. It really adds an extra dimension not usually seen in these types of games. The main story of the game is actually fictitious. There was never an OSS operation to steal the HO-229 that we know of. However, the plane does actually exist, and it was built, but by the time it was wheeled off the production line, it was a little too late for the German war machine. These details in the game lead you down rabbit holes of information if you're anything like me. It's also a testament to the dev team's will and passion to be able to create a fake story, but still have the game be historically accurate. There are a few games that have kept me as engaged during playthroughs than Medal of Honor Frontline. The last time I played, I actually finished 4 out of the 6 levels before I even remembered how far I was in the game. I think Tom Bramwell from Eurogamer puts it best. You will need to complete each level in one go, lest you be returned to the start, but unless you go straight for the highest difficulty level, the game is more challenging and engaging than frustrating. Every mission flows perfectly and switches up the objectives to keep things fresh. Plethora of weapons, and at the start of each mission you're given a different loadout, really helps to make you feel like an OSS agent who isn't only limited to a government issue weapon, but rather a whole arsenal of weaponry. As you get further and further along the story, the enemies you come across get increasingly difficult and more intimidating. By the time you get to the train mission, the SS guards on the train are wielding SCG-44s and wearing all black uniforms. These are not your average German soldier. Sort of a continuation from the last point, but the amount of variation in enemies sometimes make it weigh a bit more on you when you kill. Also, it may be a bit more antsy to see what kind of cool characters I might come across when I'm progressing through the game. There is rarely an empty room in Frontline. The game is packed full of content and little moments that leave a lasting memory, such as this. This. Maybe even this. Or even this. Definitely one of Medal of Honor Frontline's biggest strengths is in the audio department. Without a doubt, in my opinion, this game has one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. Each song provokes strong emotions. Seriously, there is not one bad song on this entire playlist. The soundtrack was composed by Michael Giacchino, and personally I am able to visualize each level environment just from hearing a certain song. Safe to say, I really love this soundtrack. These are some quick clips of them composing the soundtrack for the game. This review I found on IGN sums up the soundtrack pretty perfectly. This is where Medal of Honor Frontline really excels. First, the score, composed by Michael Giacchino and performed by the Northwest Symphonia. This game's score is outstanding and sets a new benchmark for story-driven action games. Ranging from subtle and brooding to vibrant and triumphant, the score does wonders in creating the mood for each of the levels. Skipping a little bit here. Creating tension and excitement, you can't help but feel like you're part of the epic adventure. There are a few games that can surpass the oral quality of Medal of Honor Frontline, let alone match it. Exceptionally well done. Some standout favorites of mine are Operation Market Garden, Border Town, After the Drop, Arnhem, and Imric Station. One of the most impressive parts of the audio is the excellent gun sounds. Dev team was able to record real guns in person and use them for the sound effects in-game. The MP40 Springfield 1903 Bar and M1 Grand are personal standouts. All of them are pictured on the slide. That's all I've got for you today. Overall, I'd say that Medal of Honor Frontline is a fantastic game for anyone that's interested in getting into history to start out with. I also think that this game has something for everybody. Thank you again for watching, and have a fantastic rest of your day.